Big news in the NFL. San Francisco 49ers rookie linebacker Chris Borland says he's hanging up his cleats. Now, after just one pro season, 24-year-old Borland is retiring because he is concerned about concussions.
And he isn't the only person to walk away from the game this early in his career, as Jeff Glore reports.
Intercepted by Borland.
In just his first year, Chris Borland led the San Francisco 49ers in tackles, a standout linebacker seemingly destined for long-term stardom. But now Borland, just 24 years old, says he's leaving the game for good, concerned over the long-term effects of repetitive head trauma. He told ESPN's Outside the Lines, "I just thought to myself, what am I doing? Is this how I'm going to live my adult life, banging my head? From what I've researched and what I've experienced, I don't think it's worth the risk."
This isn't about Chris Borland getting head trauma in the NFL. For him, it was the fear of the unknown of the future. So he decided this isn't for me.
Borland becomes the fourth player 30 or younger to retire in the past week, but the first to specifically cite head injuries as the reason for leaving football.
I read his background and learned that he'd only had 2 concussions, that he hadn't had any symptoms currently that seemed to be demonstrating that he'd had repetitive concussions.
If only I knew what it took to go out there on Sundays and play these games.
Borland's departure comes just days after another 49ers star, Patrick Willis, retired due to mounting injuries after 8 seasons in the NFL.
Really playing some outstanding football for the 49ers.
Borland told ESPN he didn't want to end up like Hall of Famer Mike Webster, who died in 2002. Webster was diagnosed with the brain disease CTE following a violent NFL career. Webster's son spoke before Congress.
The repeated head injuries suffered on the football field took his mind and body from him at an early age and took him from me far too soon.
More than 70 former NFL players have been diagnosed with neurological disease after their deaths.
I think awareness of the health risks of repetitive head trauma have significantly increased over the past 5 to 10 years. I think athletes and families are considering sports that have less head trauma involved in them.
We're joined now over the phone by Will Brinson, a senior NFL writer for CBSSports.com. Thanks for being with us, Will.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
So let me ask you, how alarmed should the NFL be at Chris Borland's sudden retirement? I mean, this does send sort of a signal.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I to be honest, I was watching Better Call Saul last night when the news broke, and I was sitting there and I saw it on my phone, and I checked the link like 6 times before I retweeted it because I didn't believe it was real. I mean, that's how crazy it is to see a 24-year-old, a guy who's a budding star in the NFL, walk away from the game before he really made big money. I mean, like, he got good money on his rookie contract, but you don't make big money until that second contract. I think it's a major red flag for the NFL because I think we'll see more and more of this. People and players and young men making the decision to give up the pursuit of fame and cash in exchange for the long-term livelihood. But at the same time, it's probably being a little bit overblown in terms of this isn't a death knell for the NFL. This does not mean that the NFL, as we know it, is going to unravel. Bobby Wagner, linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks, tweeted shortly after Borland announced that he was going to retire that he was planning on playing the game until they had to drag him off the field, basically. And so this is a guy who plays a similar position, and I think it just ultimately comes down to an individual belief. There are a lot of guys that would keep putting it all on the line. It doesn't mean anything good or bad about Chris Borland, but impressive that he was able to make that decision to walk away.
Now, the NFL did issue a statement saying the league respected Borland's decision, but that, quote, football has never been safer. What do you make of that response?
Well, the NFL is legitimately trying to make football safer. I mean, that's just the reality of it, is that we started learning things about the game of football, and I think that the public has become more aware of the dangers of smashing your head into another human being. I mean, it seems that it should be easier, but it's become the public is more aware of the problems of the concussions and the problem of CTE and the problems that can come via playing football. And the NFL, there's a lot of rhetoric that goes into it when you start talking about the legal ramifications of concussions in football. But the NFL is genuinely trying to make the game safer. I mean, of course they want to make it safer, and they want to make it easier for players to play a long time and to come out of the game you know, in a safe manner. But the reality is, it's a dangerous sport. It's a dangerous, violent sport, and you're never going to take that out of it completely. So I tend to agree with the NFL, but at the same time, it's impossible to make football safe. That's just the nature of it.
All right, Will Brinson, senior NFL writer for CBSSports.com. Thanks, Will.
Take care.
All right.